Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Fiona and I am an artist and illustrator. I am working towards finding rhythm and a purpose in my art practice after graduating from art school at 31. In this week's video, I wanted to talk about the importance of making mistakes in your art. And while I talk about this, I figured what better than to paint some butterflies where I get to experiment and play. For those of you who don't know, I dealt with extreme burnout after graduating. There was so much stress and buildup leading up to finishing school. And once that ended, I experienced an intense identity crisis. I stopped making art for a while and dealt with a lot of self doubt and fear about what the future would hold for me. Luckily, I had been accepted into a group show at a gallery here in Portland, and that forced me to start creating again. Instead of letting the feelings of overwhelm and fear run the show, I let them sit with me while I created. I stopped expecting them to fully leave before I could start making art. And I think this is such an important notion for artists to have. There is never going to be a perfect time to become an artist or to sit down at your desk and start. There will always be lessons to be learned and mistakes to be made. It is the mistakes that are the most important part of the artistic journey. Growth is such an elusive concept because sometimes it can be months before we even notice it. And the last thing that we can do is to try to rush it. I think the most important thing I learned after graduating is that you'll never be right where you are again. Where you are now with your art skills is a unique period of time. I wanted to read a segment from the book Art and Fear. It says, "There's generally no good reason why others should care about most of any one artist's work. The function of the overwhelming majority of your artwork is simply to teach you how to make the small fraction of your artwork that soars." One of the basic and difficult lessons every artist must learn is that even the failed pieces are essential. X-rays of famous paintings reveal that even master artists sometimes make basic mid-course corrections or deleted really dumb mistakes by overpainting the still wet canvas. The point is that you learn how to make your work by making your work, and a great many of the pieces you make along the way will never stand out as finished art. The best you can do is make art you care about, and lots of it. The book goes on to explain that the art you make does not form or dictate your identity as an artist. And I think we all need to divorce ourselves from the idea that it does. Because the most important thing to remember while learning is that making mistakes does not mean having failed. It actually means we have succeeded. It is very brave to persevere with something that has so much vulnerability and emotion attached to it. I have learned that mistakes can actually be fun. It's all about how you frame things, because problem solving as an artist is a very necessary skill. As I am working on these butterflies, I am basically doing this the entire time. I'm experimenting and layering and exploring what works and what I like and what I don't. I make a lot of quote unquote mistakes during this, but then I move on and problem solve and try something else. Putting down the wrong color or making a mark that looks bad is not a life or death situation, and I want to stop making work like that is the case. I didn't go to medical school for that exact reason. I applaud the people that can work well under that level of stress, but I can tell you that nobody would want me operating on them. This also isn't to say that art is unimportant or lacks necessity, because it absolutely is essential, but only to say that not everything we make needs to be such high stakes, and that laughing at your work can actually be fun. Even watching this video back, I am learning. It's so fascinating to see all the different stages of these butterflies. And also, this one sketchbook page is not the pinnacle of my artist identity. This is all so much easier said than done. Sometimes it can feel louder than other times, but I just remind myself to keep going. But saying all this is just as much a reminder for me as it is for anyone listening. And I hope that through this video, it might help someone to not be so hard on themselves next time they make a mistake. I wanted to read a few more quotes from the book Art and Fear that hopefully might help you frame these ideas of making mistakes. It reads, art making involves skills that can be learned. The conventional wisdom here is that while craft can be taught, art remains a magical gift bestowed only by the gods. Not so. In large measure, becoming an artist consists of learning to accept yourself, which makes your work personal, and in following your own voice, which makes your work distinctive. Clearly, these qualities can be nurtured by others. Even talent is rarely distinguishable over the long run from perseverance and lots of hard work. It's true that every few years, the authors encounter some beginning photography student whose first semester prints appear as finely crafted as any Ansel Adams might have made. And it's true that a natural gift like that, especially coming at the fragile early learning stage, returns priceless encouragement to its maker. But all that has nothing to do with artistic content. Rather, it simply points up the fact that most of us, including Adams himself, had to work years to perfect our art. And finally, the last quote that I wanted to include in this video that really stuck with me is, artist has gradually become a form of identity which, as every artist knows, often carries with it as many drawbacks as benefits. Consider that if artist equals self, then when inevitably you make flawed art, you are a flawed person. And when, worse yet, you make no art, you are no person at all. It seems far healthier to sidestep that vicious spiral by accepting many paths to successful art making. From reclusive to flamboyant, intuitive to intellectual, folk art to fine art, one of those paths is yours. With those ideas in mind, I figured I would leave you with some relaxing music and you can just watch me finish these butterflies. And thank you all so much for watching and listening, and I will see you next week.